Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm seeing on the global landscape of the 5 greatest leadership challenges facing companies that we work with. Now, I'll talk a lot about Microsoft. I'll talk a lot about Delta Airlines. I'll talk a lot about Boeing because those brands everybody knows. I work with AT&T. We work with a lot of Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies. But we also work with the smaller companies. So I don't want to create this understanding that this only applies to big corporations because it applies in every scenario. That's the reason we started a company for entrepreneurs. When you grow explosively in multiples of percentages, you don't develop enough people to sustain your growth. That's why I think I heard a number and you got a third of percent, or did I hear 2% unemployment? That's astounding. I've got some people in the States I need to come sit down here and give them a job. It's crazy, guys. And because of that, what it does is it creates a vacuum of successful leaders that can sustain that growth and scale that growth out. That's why it's important to us as we look at the global leadership landscape, once again, to find organizations like Learning Hub that says we are committed to developing leaders within organizations that will bleed out into other organizations so that we can impact this entire country, and this country will impact the world. Does that make sense? 5 key challenges that we see facing organizational leaders from a global landscape. The reason I want you to write these down is because I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I'm going to let you connect with your partner, the person sitting to your right or left, and I want you to determine if Singapore emulates what we're seeing in the rest of the world. And here's the 5. Leading virtual teams. How do you lead in a virtual environment? The world is perplexed with that. As I just told you, I'm leading 5 companies, and I'm gone 24 days. I'm the senior leader. I'm the guy that's got to make the big decisions, and I won't see my team for over 24 days. So leading in virtual teams. Second one is resolving conflict. We live in a world that is ever-changing. I talked to a couple of guys in the technology sector. There's probably a lot of you guys because the world recognizes and embraces and appreciates what you guys have done with technology in Singapore. But I met you 2 guys, and what I understood in the world of technology, it changes every day. It changes all of the time, and with that change comes moments of conflict and moments of challenge. And so what we're finding in this increasingly fast-paced world of change that we're in, is that change creates a lot of conflict. The third thing that we're seeing is employment engagement or employee engagement. How do you get employees to engage not only in the vision and the mission of the organization, but to come in and just do their job? Just come in and care. Just come in and act like they're not entitled, but really want to be engaged in the organization, in the production of the organization. Number 4, developing leaders. I've told you, people call Learning Hub, they call our type organizations because they're going, we don't have enough leaders. There's not a surplus of leaders. And then finally is change management. Now, I talked about change under conflict because a lot of times that's what creates conflict. But how do you manage change? You know, there's some organizations that refuse to manage change. They don't want to change. They think if it was good yesterday, we ought to keep doing it for the rest of our lifetime. But change is good. But how you manage change, how you implement change, and then how you keep yourself accountable to change is the recipe that allows organizations to sustain themselves during changing times. So that's my 5.